Good afternoon and welcome to the Unidome in Cedar Falls and this 1978 Class AA State High School Football Championship game matching the Mustangs of Mount Vernon High School against the Generals of Sibley. I'm Ron Steele to call the play-by-play this afternoon for this title game, and helping us out with the expert commentary, Bob Hogue, the sports director at station KTIV in Sioux City. Interesting matchup, Bob, and one thing we should point out right away that Mount Vernon will be without its top rusher in Rick Osborne.
That's really a blow to them. Rick has got a broken arm. He will not play. He's rushed for well over 500 yards this season, 6.2-yard average. But one thing we should point out, we don't expect a lot of scoring in this contest. 13 shutouts between the two ball clubs. Mount Vernon unscored upon until the 8th game of the season. They have 8 shutouts in all, whereas Sibley has 6 shutouts on the season. So we have 14 shutouts between the two teams. An interesting matchup.
All right, you'll notice that at the center of the field, the captains are meeting. Rick Osborne is there without his pads, just his jersey on there because he has the injury. And look at the cast on his left arm there. He has a broken arm. And we're just about set for the kickoff, and we'll be back with more here from the Unidome in just a minute.
And now for our starting lineup for today's game.
The Iowa Boys High School Football Championship is brought to you in part by the True Value hardware dealers in your area and Standard Oil. Associated Milk Producers Incorporated is an incorporated business owned by you, our member patrons. AMPI is organized and operated for the purpose of performing specified services on a cost of doing business basis. All net earnings are returned or allocated to you as an AMPI member owner. It pays to belong to the Associated Milk Producers Incorporated, who take this opportunity to congratulate the Sibley Generals on their performance on the field this season.
You expect more from a leader.
You expect innovative ideas from Amoco. We were a leader in developing lead-free gasoline, the first major brand with 2 grades of lead-free, the first with premium lead-free. Amoco Premium Lead-Free, proven by experience to help stop engine run-on, to burn smoother and help stop knock, and even improve mileage because you don't have to change the timing to prevent knock. Amoco Premium Lead-Free.
Number 51 is, or is that number 61 down there? 81 is Mark Moody. Steve Schwarzkopf will be in the backfield, number 21. Terry Pomeranke, he does everything. Number 44, you'll see a lot of him today. Number 40 is Doug Phillip, 5'8", 145 senior. And number 12 is the quarterback, Taylor Hubbard, only a sophomore, Bob, and he'll be the starting quarterback today for the Sibley Generals.
Well, I saw Sibley play just about a week and a half ago against Belmont when they put on a fine second-half display and won that game 27-0. Let's talk for a moment about Terry Pomeranke. They call him the 5-star general, and I'll go over the 5 stars for you. He runs the football. He rushed for over 1,000 yards this season. He can catch the football in the open field. He's a good pass catcher. He punts for you. He has a 35-yard punting average. He returns punts, a 17-yard punt return average, and not only that, he returns kickoffs. So those are the 5 stars of the little 5-star general. Watch for number 44, Terry Pomeranke.
All right, Mount Vernon will kick it off. I believe I had that incorrect. I think I said Mount Vernon would receive. Mount Vernon will kick it off, and Sibley will receive. And back deep is number 44, and that is Terry Pomeranke. And that's a name you're going to be hearing a lot this afternoon. Set to kick it off is number 88, Mike Hufford, for the Mustangs of Mount Vernon in this AA State High School Football Championship game. Here's Hufford up to the ball, and he kicks it high end over end. This is Terry Pomeranke at the 8-yard line. Up to about the 23, stacked up in there by number 61 for the Mount Vernon Mustangs, making the stop to open the football game, Rob Niederhauser.
And Rob Niederhauser is the second leading tackle on the Mustangs. He has 55 unassisted tackles on the year. You'll hear a lot from him today. Let's go over this Sibley offense. They'll come out of a full house tee pretty much with 2 tight ends in there. They'll run about 80% of the time, giving the ball to Terry Pomeranke or to Steve Schwarzkopf.
Look at that full house to start it out on 1st and 10 for the Sibley Generals. Inside, stacked up at the 30. They give it off to the left halfback, Troy Spencer. Kevin Havel is number 21, and you'll see a lot of Havel this afternoon. He's a senior, a 6-footer, 160 pounds. Little gain, we call it maybe a pickup of about 1. We'll call it 2nd down and 9. The ball just across the 26-yard line. Up over the ball at center for Sibley is John Smith. Give it off to Pomeranke, number 44, breaks 1 tackle. Paul Hufford had him for a moment, number 71, and Pomeranke bowled his way up to about the 28.
Here's a good indication of why Pomeranke averaged over 5 yards a carry. You'll see Paul Hufford, who leads the Mustangs in tackles, try to grab him around the ankles, but Pomeranke breaks loose for about a 3 or 4 yard gain. We have 3rd and 6. Sibley played some tough competition. They were in the Lakes Conference, which is pretty much 3A teams. Emmetsburg won that, and they'll be in the 3A game later this afternoon.
Sibley played Emmetsburg this year, didn't they, Bob?
And lost 14-7.
14-7. So that should be an indication of the type of football team. Seen pass over the middle, nearly intercepted by number 63 for the Mustangs, Steve Gillibeck, 5'10", 155-pound senior. Steve Gillibeck, spelled J-I-L-O-V-E-C. Unusual spelling. He broke it up, and now it brings up 4th down and 6 at the 28 for the Generals of Sibley.
Well, Terry Pomeranke will be in there to punt. His punting average went way down in the playoffs because of the windy days they played up there in Sibley, but he won't have any problem with the wind here in the Unidome.
Dave Thumb, number 42, and number 88, Mike Hufford, back to receive it for Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon won the Class AA state championship for Coach Jim Bellamy in 1974. Also finishing runner-up to Britt in 1973. So the Mustangs have been here before, and they should know what it's like to play in the championship game. 10:28 left to go in the first quarter. Still no score.
Of course, Jim Bellamy has been around for a long time. He's been the coach of Mount Vernon for 18 years. He's a graduate of Cornell College and Des Moines Roosevelt High School.
Pomeranke back on his own 11-yard line. Gets the kick away. It's going to be kind of a line drive across the 40. And Hufford lets it go out of bounds, and see where they spotted it, about the 33 probably. Iowa State was leading Colorado 10-0 in the first quarter in Boulder. Iowa State trying to get a postseason bowl bid, but has to win big today.
Kind of an interesting situation there, Ron. And in Nebraska, they throw oranges because they want to go to the Orange Bowl. I guess when you want to go to the Hall of Fame Bowl, do you get a bunch of old Hall of Famers there and just toss them out there?
1st and 10 at the 33. Mount Vernon, first offensive series now, up at quarterback. They hand it off inside to the big fullback inside, number 32, Joe Giannini.
Of course, they're missing their big back. Rick Osborne is injured, but they have 4 very capable backs in there. Jerry Zinkula, Kevin Havel, Joe Giannini, Troy Spencer will carry the ball. Each of those backs have over a 4-yard per carry average.
Quarterback is number 10, Jim Barthel. Here's a counter inside, straight ahead, little running room across the 35 to about the 37. Troy Spencer, number 40, carried the football. Spencer is a 5'11", 155-pound junior.
And a comment on this general defense. They'll cause a lot of confusion in there. They'll come at you at a 4-4. They'll do a lot of stunning, and it really confuses the offense. It'll be interesting to see the reaction of the quarterback in here. Jim Barthel is going to have to read that defense, and it's a very tough defense to read.
In motion now, Kevin Havel, number 21. They give it straight ahead, trying to pick up the first down, but it's going to be short by about 3 yards.
Number 32, Joe Giannini. He's stopped by number 11, Steve Bruder.
It's going to bring up 4th down and 3 at about the 40. At at the 25. This is Pomerantz. Terry Pomerantz reverses field. Tries to get outside. He's going to be hemmed in at about the 30 and breaks a tackle across the 45 to 50. And finally, Terry Pomerantz is brought down at about the 46-yard line.
And what a valuable asset Terry Pomeranke is. A 35-yard punt by the Mustangs, and you'll see him reverse field and come at you with a 28-yard return. He was All-State a year ago in 2A. He's All-State again this year, and you can see why on this play. A 28-yard return for Terry Pomeranke.
1st and 10 for Sibley. Full house backfield again at the 47. They give it off to Pomerantz to the 45 and stacked up by number 63, and that is Steve Elovitz. Tim Johnson, the wrestling coach at Mount Vernon, happens to be up in the press box today, Bob, and he has told us that it's pronounced Elovitz. J-I-L-O-V-E-C, but it's Elovitz. For Mount Vernon. Steve Elovitz. 2nd down and 8 at the 45. Dropping straight back to pass. They're going out of the backfield now at the 45-yard line. Steve Schwarzkopf came out of the backfield, number 21 for the Generals of Sibley.
Well, Taylor Hubbard was looking for Tim Fleming over the middle, and he just wasn't open at all, so he had to go out to his little flare back.
Going to be 3rd down and about 9. Taking a look at the Mount Vernon defensive line up front. Paul Hufford is number 71, John Bellamy, Steve Rayhouse, Darrell Loomis, and Joe Giannini. 3rd down and 9 for Sibley. They pitch it outside to Pomerantz. And a great defensive play at the 47-yard line by number 40 for Mount Vernon, Troy Spencer. Holding call coming up against Sibley, I believe, as well. The flag drop, Bob.
Yeah, it looks like a holding call would be called on Tom Heiliger. He's the offensive guard, number 60, and they caught him there. Pomeranke, just a short gain. Now the decision whether to take him back to about the 40-yard line.
Great play in there by Troy Spencer, 5'11", 155-pound junior.
Well, so far, indication that we're going to have quite a defensive struggle, as these Mount Vernon Mustangs have given up only 3 touchdowns the entire year, and that's just an incredible statistic in itself. Sibley as well has not given up very many touchdowns. They lost their first game of the season 21-0 to defending 2A state champions Central Lyon of Rock Rapids, giving up 3 touchdowns there, but they never had that kind of a situation happen as far as the rest of the season is concerned.
Way back at the 37, 3rd down and 26 yards to go. Out of a shotgun formation, trying to set up a screen over the middle. They have it set up to Pomerantz. He's got some blockers in front of him. Brings it up across the 45 to about the 47, where he's stacked up in there by number 42, Dave Thumb, for the Mustangs. It's going to be 4th down for Sibley.
We see Taylor Hubbard here going back to pass, trying to set up a screen. Unfortunately, Pomeranke got in front of his blockers, and he had to come back, and that allowed the Mustangs to have good pursuit in there.
At the 47, dropping back for Mount Vernon, number 88 is Mike Hufford. Dual safety back there, number 42, as well as Dave Thumb. Pomeranke at his own 37 gets it away this time. It's going to be Hufford. He fakes the reverse across the 20, gets up to about the 25. And Mount Vernon will take over again. 1st and 10 for the Mustangs.
Well, the young man who returned that punt, Mike Hufford, is one of those kids just like Terry Pomeranke, who does a lot of things. He's their kicker in there. He returns punts. He's also a super tight end. He has 5 interceptions on the year, and he's a big young man, 6'3", 185 pounds.
1st and 10 at the 26 for Mount Vernon, out of a power I this time. Jim Barthel at quarterback. Straight ahead to the tailback, or might have gotten a yard, Troy Spencer, number 40.
Number 40, Troy Spencer carries the ball from Mount Vernon.
Yeah, the interesting aspect about the Huffords. Joe Hufford, of course, the great defensive tackle for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And now they have 2 boys playing in this game today, Paul and Mike. Where do they go? Do they go to Iowa City today to see Iowa play Wisconsin? Or do they come here to see their other 2 sons play in the championship of AA?
It's got to be tough. I don't know what you do in that situation.
Tim Johnson informs me they took a television to the stands at Kinnick Stadium, so they're watching the game here.
I was going to say maybe Mama goes one place and Papa to the other.
They are at Kinnick Stadium and evidently watching the football game from here at the Unidome. 3rd down and 18, and Mount Vernon unable to move it. Jim Barthel, great pursuit out there defensively for Sibley. And now it's a long situation, 3rd down and 18. The Generals looking tough here on defense against Mount Vernon. Wing on the right side and 3rd down. Here's the draw play inside, and it's stacked up at the 20-yard line. Number 32, Joe Giannini's carried the football. It's going to be 4th down.
Mount Vernon's defense, of course, is much heralded. You haven't heard quite as much about Sibley's defense, but you know they got a tough assignment ahead here. Mount Vernon has scored 30.4 points a game, and that's got to be a tough assignment for your defense.
4th down and 15. Paul Hufford back to kick it away at about his own 8-yard line. High pass from center, but he gets it away. It's kind of a wobbly kick. This is Pomeranke at the 43-yard line. Flag drop down. I believe it's going to be a clip across midfield. Pomeranke goes down just inside Mount Vernon territory, but it's going to be taken back.
As soon as Pomeranke got the ball on a 36-yard punt from Hufford, Doug Phillip in there trying to make a block. He's number 40. He hit the downfield man for the Mustangs in the back. He'll get called for a clip, and that'll put the ball probably back around the 36-yard line, where the Generals will start from there. Kind of an interesting nickname, the Generals. We were wondering, where does that come from? I guess back in 1873, I was talking to one of the cheerleaders down on the sidelines.
You were talking to him back in 1873?
Anyway, back in 1873, a gentleman, General Sibley, founded the town of Sibley up in the very northwest corner of Iowa, right near the Minnesota border. And that's how they got the nickname.
The Sibley Generals, they take it now, 1st and 10 at the 27. 3 minutes and 57 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Still no score. This time, Sibley sends Doug Phillip on a split to the right side in a deuce backfield. Now the young sophomore quarterback dropping back, and he's going long, and he's got a man open. It's incomplete. It's going to be 2nd down.
Trying to go to Tim Fleming on that.
Right, Tim Fleming, number 25.
He's number 25. He's caught the ball 13 times for 117 yards in the season. Normally, Sibley does not pass that often. You'll only see him probably pass, 8 to 10 times a game, but already they put the ball in the air a couple of times, which is rather surprising. They've completed 2 of 4, as a matter of fact. Taylor Hubbard so far in the year had only completed 38 of 78 for 420 yards.
Iowa State now leading Colorado 17-7 in Boulder. Taylor Hubbard pitches outside, this time across the 30, big hole to the 40. Steve Schwarzkopf, number 21, carried the football. Watch it again on the replay.
Well, Terry Pomeranke is the big runner, but Steve Schwarzkopf himself has gained over 600 yards on the season. And if not for a touchdown-saving tackle by David Thumb, this thing is going to go all the way.
That's a 1st down at the 38 now for Sibley. There's the Iowa State score in the second quarter. 17-7 Cyclones. 3 minutes 30 seconds left to go first quarter. No score in this double-A game. Pitch outside to Pomeranke, and he's stacked up at about the 42. Good defensive play in there by Mike Hubbard, number 88.
One of the things that impresses me about Pomeranke is the way he follows his interference. Out in front of him that time was Dennis Stoffren, number 77. And he just kind of gave him a little bit of a push. You'll see it coming up here on the replay as he pushes number 77 and says, hey, get out of my way. I want a couple more yards.
Up front for Mount Vernon defensively, Paul Hufford is number 71, John Bellamy number 52, and Steve Rayhouse number 70. The 3 men up front there. Pomeranke trying to get out front, and he gets across the 45, and Paul Hufford, number 71, makes the stop. Watch it again.
Pomeranke trying to get outside on that 5-2 defense by Sibley. But Paul Hufford in there to make the stop. He's the leading tackler for the Mustang. He had 89 tackles on the year. 6'2", 205 pounds. He's only a junior. So what a career he has ahead of him.
3rd down and 1 at the 48. In fact, it's about less than a yard as the clock runs down here at 2:45 in the first quarter. No score. They give it off to Pomeranke, first down and a lot more. He gets outside of the 40, cuts back across the grain, and a beautiful tackle in there by number 32 for the Mount Vernon Mustangs, Joe Giannini.
And this will happen
the touchdown.
This will happen a lot of times in a short yardage situation. You get past that first line of defense, and then it's smooth sailing. That's why there's a big gainer in there. Pomeranke busted open for about 12 yards.
First and 10 at the 39 now for the Sibley Generals. This Class AA High School Football Championship game here in the Unidome. Ron Steele with the play-by-play, the color commentary from Bob Hogue here in this championship game in the Unidome. First and 10 of the 39 on the wing on the right side now for the Sibley Generals. Number 25, Tim Fleming. They give it off inside across the 40 to Fleming. Or excuse me, make that Taylor Hubbard.
I think that was Steve Harms in there, number 15, getting the ball. He's a backup quarterback, but every once in a while you'll see him. He broke a big gain, about a 44-yard touchdown run against Belmont when the Generals turned it loose in the second half. It was a scoreless first half, then getting 27 points on the scoreboard.
Harms is also only a sophomore, Bob, for Sibley. Second down and 10 out of that full house backfield again. Great defensive pursuit for Mount Vernon. Darren Loomis, number 50, made the initial stop over there.
Pomeranke in the ball game already, 5 carries for 29 yards. He's not the kind of a guy that's going to break away like Dave Nissen yesterday with that phenomenal 9-10 yard average, but he'll get 5-6 yards every time he carries the football.
In Mount Vernon territory, Sibley with the football, third down and 7. Out of the shotgun, they give it off inside of the draw to Pomeranke. Paul Hufford read it beautifully. Flag dropped in the middle, probably a hold coming up against Sibley. Beautiful defense by Hufford.
I think there's a face mask penalty on the field, Ron. They're pointing at the Mustangs. Mustangs
Yes,
shaking their heads.
Watch it again.
That's an unfortunate situation. I think number 70 in there, that's Steve Rahans, grabs the face mask of Pomeranke. That's a big break for the Generals, as it would have been fourth down. Instead, it's going to be a first down. It's going to be inside the 30-yard line.
Steve Rahans, a 5'11", 210-pound senior. Got a hold accidentally of the face mask, making the tackle, and now it's going to be first down and 10 for Sibley at the 21. Big break for the Generals. Taylor Hubbard at quarterback, only a sophomore for Sibley. Clock is running now with 35 seconds left to go here in the first quarter. No score. Flag is dropped right at the line of scrimmage just before the snap of the football. It's going to go against Sibley. Talking it over there with number 70, Steve Rahans for Mount Vernon. Clock is stopped with 33 seconds left to go in the first quarter. No score.
It'll be interesting to see if Sibley can get it into the end zone, because only once this entire season has Mount Vernon been behind, and it's kind of a they're just not used to it at all. They're used to getting out there and running up the score, not having any trouble in the ball game.
Doug Phillip split to the right side out of a shotgun. Hubbard wants to go to him over the middle. It is going to be intercepted by Mike Hufford at the 10, the 15. He's got blockers out in front. He spins it up at the 30-yard line. Mike Hufford, number 88, with a big pass interception for the Mustangs of Mount Vernon.
And Taylor Hubbard goes back to pass, but he just overshoots Doug Phillip, who's wide open. Mike Hufford playing center field back there. This is his 6th interception on the year, and it's a good run back. 6'3", 185-pounder.
That's a first down now for Mount Vernon at the 29 is where they spot it.
Rather unusual for a free safety to be that big. You're used to a little kid, about 5'9", 5'8", playing back there. 6'3", Mike Hufford.
Here's the power I again. Jim Barthel pitches outside to Troy Spencer. He breaks one tackle, gets across the 30, breaks another tackle, and gets up to the 34. Hard bit of running in there by that 5'11", 155-pound junior Troy Spencer as the first quarter comes to an end. No score here. Mount Vernon nothing and Sibley nothing. We'll be back in just a moment. Jim Barthel at quarterback, number 10. A quick pitch outside to Spencer. Troy Spencer, number 40. And he's stacked up in there by the Sibley defense. Number 71, Paul Alexander, a junior, made the stop.
I guess the Mustangs have determined that they cannot run inside against the Generals, so they're going outside to Troy Spencer, who's got a lot of speed out there. He's rushed for 337 yards on the season for a 4.7-yard average.
It's going to be third down and about 1. Less than a yard to go for Mount Vernon here on a big third down situation. Jim Barthel up over at quarterback, a senior, 5'10", 145-pounder. They give it off inside, straight ahead to number 32, Joe Giannini, and he picks up the first down for Mount Vernon.
Giannini, just a straight ahead, tough kind of runner, just keeps those legs driving, picking up the first down. And the Mustangs, for the first time, look like they're driving.
A first down at the 43. Michigan leading Purdue 10-0 in the second quarter.
A big win there for the Rose Bowl.
Absolutely, and it's no score here. Class AA football championship game. Mount Vernon driving the football. Still in their own territory at the 43. Jim Barthel rolls out to his left side, turns around, now wants to pass long to Hufford, and it's going to be out of bounds, they say. Incomplete. Pretty good pass play.
Barthel shows a little bit of his arm. He's passed for over 500 yards on the season. He finds Hufford wide open, and Hufford uses those long arms and legs to go up and get that ball, and as you can see, he just can't get his feet in bounds, and they'll come down on the chalk.
That's going to bring up a second down situation. Second down at the 43, 2nd and 10. No score here, 10:55 left to go in the first half. Deuce backfield now as Barthel throws a seam pass over the middle. It is incomplete. Trying to go to inside, number 42, Dave Thumb, a junior, or a senior, I should say, 5'11", 140. Just can't hang on to it. Pretty good bit of defense there, Bob.
Well, that was a real good pass play. It was a good opportunity to really break it away. Thumb is the number 2 receiver for the Mustangs. He's caught the ball 13 times for 236 yards. That time he just couldn't hold on. Of course, the Generals made a nice defensive play as well.
Now it is third down and 10 at the 43. Dropping back to pass again. A little bit of pressure. Barthel wants to get rid of it. It's over the middle, incomplete.
That'll just add a few more years and a few more gray hairs to a coach, because Barthel just puts this pass right into the gut of Mike Hufford. Hufford just doesn't catch the football.
It's going to bring up fourth down and 10 at the 43. John Bellamy, the coach's son. His dad is the coach. Jim Bellamy, the coach of the Mount Vernon Mustangs. Bellamy up over the ball at center as they get ready to kick it away at the 30 on fourth down. Paul Hufford kicks it high. It's going to be a short kick. It's going to bound at about the 35. And it's down there by Troy Spencer, number 40. And Sibley will take over.
Only a 21-yard punt on that situation. I think it went a little bit off the side of his foot. Didn't get all of it. Good field position for Sibley. They drove the last time before a pass was finally intercepted. A little bit more of a mix-up on offense so far. They're mixing up the running and passing. I had expected just a running football game.
First down and 10 at the 36. Here's a pitch outside to Pomeranke, and a great defensive play in there for Mount Vernon by number 61, and that is Rob Niederhauser. Niederhauser, a senior, 5'10", 155-pounder. Loss of about 1 on the play. We'll call it second down and a little more than 11. $9:55 left to go in the first half. No score. Nearly fumbled the football was number 21 carrying it for Sibley that time, Steve Schwarzkopf.
A little bit of trouble in the handoff there. Hubbard just didn't stick it right where you got to. You got to get it right there in the gut. Schwarzkopf barely got a hold of that football. He must have a little bit of glue on his fingers, because I don't know how he held on to it. But they gain about a half a yard. It'll make it third, 10.5, 11 yards to go.
The ball just short of the 36-yard line here in the second quarter. No score. Sibley up on offense and a big third down play. Out of the shotgun again. Dropping back, they want to pass, and he's sacked in there for a loss back at the 26. Paul Hufford, number 71 there for the Mount Vernon defense, and Steve Rahans, number 70.
You can watch here Hubbard drop back. He's trying to go to Doug Phillips deep. He just doesn't have the time to get in there. Hufford and Rahans are all over him.
Got to give Steve Elovitz a lot of credit there, too. Number 63. He was right there along with Hufford and Rahans. Now it's 4th down and 19 for Sibley. Pomeranke back at about the 15-yard line to boot it away. Perfect center pass. Gets it away. It's a line drive. It sends Mike Hufford back, and he lets it go out of bounds. They spot it at about the 41-yard line.
Must have been a little bit of breakdown in the offensive line. The rushers came in awful quick on Pomeranke. He had to get rid of the football a lot before he wanted to. Only a 31-yard punt.
Mount Vernon will take over 1st and 10 at the 41. No score.
It'll be 1st and 10 for Mount Vernon. They'll spot at their own 41-yard line.
The quarterback is Jim Barthel, number 10, a senior, 5'10", 145, straight ahead to Troy Spencer. Stacked up there by Steve Bruder, number 11, for Sibley.
Number 40, Troy Spencer running the ball for Mount Vernon.
Bruder considered to be the best defensive player for Sibley. I got a chance to talk with Dan Melbrecht the other night on the phone. He was really impressed with Bruder. Really gets in there and sticks. Not afraid to get in there and mix it up just a little bit.
Call it a pickup of 2, 2nd down and 8 for Mount Vernon. There's a good look at Jim Barthel, number 10, the Mount Vernon quarterback. Gives on the counter again to Spencer. Big hole. He breaks the one tackle. Gets up to the 45. Mark Doden, number 20, forced to make the tackle for Sibley.
So far in the ball game, Spencer has been somewhat of the workhorse for the Mustangs. He's carried the ball 6 times for 24 yards.
Good for a gain of 10 yards.
That was an impressive run. They got a 1st down
Ball spotted at the Sibley
at the Generals' 47-yard line. That's only the 2nd 1st down in the ball game for the Mustangs.
1st and 10 at the 47. Barthel this time gives it off inside to Giannini.
That's number 32.
Joe Giannini carried the football across the 45 to about the 44. Stacked up in there by Greg Harper, number 76.
Good indication this time, Ron, when some series, even though you don't get any yards on it, you get a good advantage. Last time they mixed it up a little bit, went to the pass, went outside, and now they're coming back to the bread and butter, going inside, and they gained some good yardage now. It's about 2nd and 7.
At the 44, Mount Vernon working out of a power I formation here. Here's Barthel on the quick pitch to Kevin Havel, number 21. Havel carries the football, a senior, a 6-footer, 160-pounder.
Number 21, Steve Schwarzkopf.
Havel's probably the breakaway threat for the Mustangs. He's averaged nearly 6 yards a carry.
It's going to be about 3rd down and 5, Bob. Here's a critical play for Mount Vernon. In Sibley territory at the 42. The clock continues to run. It's now 17-10, Iowa State leading Colorado. It is tough to win in Boulder. It has been tough for Iowa State anyway, and they certainly need to win today. 6:23 left to go. No score. 3rd down and 5 for Mount Vernon. Here's Jim Barthel. Wants to go the seam pass again, and it's knocked down by number 63, Joe Poss. A 6'1", 180-pounder for Sibley. Joe Poss broke it up. It's going to be 4th and 5.
He definitely used all of his height on that one, all 6'1" of it. He's their 2nd leading tackler. He got up there. There's just no way that pass was going to be completed. Barthel is 0 for 4 in the football game passing.
Paul Hufford back to kick it away for Mount Vernon. Rushes on, but he gets it away. It's a nice high spiral. Fair catch called for by Pomeranke at about the 18. And that's where Sibley will take it. 1st and 10 as they spot it at about the 18-yard line.
Terry Pomeranke.
Paul Hufford averaging 35 yards a kick this time. That was about a 42-yarder. 42-yard kick that time for Paul Hufford. 7 above his average. 1st and 10 Sibley. Deep in their own territory at the 18. 6 minutes, 9 seconds left to go 1st half. No score. Here's Pomeranke on the counter. He gets across the 20, missed barely. Number 71 right there to greet him, Paul Hufford. And number 70, also from Mount Vernon, we've heard a lot of him already today, Steve Rayhans. Hufford and Rayhans make the tackle at 2nd down and 7.
So far, the first half, not a surprise at all. Neither team really able to drive the football. It doesn't really matter what you do between the 30-yard lines if you can't punch it into the end zone.
Up over the ball, John Smith, number 53 at center for Sibley. Here's the inside reverse, backside to number 15, and that is Steve Harms, only a sophomore for the Generals. Steve Harms, a little guy, 5'8", 150, and a sophomore, as is the Taylor Hubbard, the quarterback. He, too, is only a sophomore. That's a tough situation for a sophomore to come into a state championship game, Bob.
Well, he's showing a lot of poise down there. I've watched Taylor Hubbard work that Belmont game. He really impressed me in the second half when it's zip, he just comes right at you, and pretty soon there's 27 points on the scoreboard.
3rd down and 4 at the 24. Power situation on a straight tee, and they fight it up for the first down. Terry Pomeranke, number 44, got the first down with good blocking up front from his offensive line. Left guard Marty Johnson, left tackle Dennis Stofferin, and the tight end Mark Moody on the left side. The right guard Tom Helliger, the right tackle Joe Poss, and the tight end on the right side Dave Monier.
We got number 70. I think that's Steve Rayhans is down on the field.
Looks like he has a left leg injury.
Grabbing his left leg down around the calf. He's definitely in pain. I certainly hope it's nothing serious. We haven't had any serious injuries so far.
There it is. See what happens here. Watch number 70. Looks like, oh yeah, you can see what happens. Look at the going against his left leg there. Number 70, Steve Rayhans, a 5'11", 210-pound senior. Watch it here on the replay.
His leg will just cave underneath him. That's a tough situation. He had scissored, and then his leg just kind of caved in when the blockers came through.
Steve Rayhans being attended to by the trainers down there with 4:54 left to go in the first half and no score in this AA championship.
Another interesting feature to this ball game is Sibley Generals. Of course, you see them out there in their orange jerseys, and the Sibley fans adopted something from Bronco Mania last year. A lot of Orange Crush t-shirts out there on the field.
All right, there's one of them.
There's one of them right there. She's a big fan. All right.
All right, number 70, Steve Rayhans, being helped to the sideline for Mount Vernon, and we certainly hope it's nothing serious for Steve, who has played a fine game this afternoon here in the early going. It's going to be 1st and 10 at the 29 for Sibley. John Bellamy, number 52, and on defense on one side on the tackle for Mount Vernon as Taylor Hubbard wants to pass, and he's going long, and it's going to be intercepted by Mike Hubbard back at the 42, and that's the second interception today for Mike Hubbard.
Boy, Hubbard just plays that center field oh so well. He could tell that pass was overthrown. He just went back and got it. Taylor Hubbard back to pass. He throws long. He overshoots his intended receiver. And there's Taylor Hubbard. Mike Hubbard, excuse me. When you get Taylor Hubbards and Mike Hubbards in the game, it gets a little bit confusing.
1st and 10 at the 42 for Mount Vernon. Here's a quick pitch outside to Troy Spencer. Spencer gets up to about the 45.
That was number 40, Troy Spencer.
John Corcoran, number 53, is in now in replace of Steve Rayhans. So Corcoran's going to play left tackle defensively and into the guard position for Rayhans on offense. John Corcoran, only a junior, a 6-footer, 200-pounder. He's number 53. That brings up 2nd down and 8 at the 44 for Mount Vernon. Still no score here in the first half. 4 minutes exactly left to play. Up over the ball at center for Mount Vernon, John Bellamy. They give it off on the counter inside, straight ahead across the 45.
Number 32.
John Giannini carried it, number 32 for Mount Vernon, 5'11" senior, 180-pounder.
61, Marty Johnson.
Clock is still running, 3:35 left to go in the first half. Mount Vernon nothing, Sibley nothing.
And a gain of 3 yards on the play to bring up 3rd down.
We have an official timeout on the field. Talk about one other interesting aspect of the game. I don't know whether our cameraman can get this shot, but there's a young man on the sidelines, number 79 for the Sibley Generals, Ardell Prinz, who is 6'9" tall. We'll try to get a shot of him later in the game.
6'9", power I formation for Mount Vernon, 3rd down and 6. Here is it going outside, and a great defensive tackle over there by number Sibley, Tom Helliger on defense. Tom Helliger stacked it up, and it's going to be 4th down again as they tried to get Kevin Havel outside, number 21. Watch it here.
They use that 4-4 defense oh so well. And again, we got Hufford into the ball game to do a little bit of punting chores. A lot of the punters so far.
Paul Hufford back at his own 35. He'll kick it away. Gets one end over end this time. It sends Pomeranke back to the 16-yard line. Across the 20. And finally brought down at about the 22. Mike Hufford made the stop, number 88 for Mount Vernon.
38-yard punt by Paul Hufford.
We 1st and 10 for the Generals. Ball spotted at their
2
own
minutes, 41 seconds left to go in the first half. Now Sibley has the ball again. 1st and 10 at the 23 is where they spot it. Here's the sophomore quarterback, Taylor Hubbard, up by the ball for the Sibley Generals. They give it off inside of the tailback. Oh, fighting for yardage up to the 30-yard line.
He's stopped by number 63.
It's going to be a 1st down, or no, it's going to be a little bit short. Call it a pickup of 7. 2nd down and 3.
Gain of 7 yards on the play to bring up 2nd down.
Here we were talking about Ardell Prinz, 6'9", a 205-pound sophomore. He is 6'9" for the Sibley Generals. We may see him yet this afternoon, too, for Sibley. 2nd down and 3 at the 30. Flag dropped at the line of scrimmage at the snap of the ball. It's going to go against Sibley. Offside encroachment call. So now, instead of 2nd down and about 3, it's going to take it back, and it's going to be 2nd down and about 8 or so, a long 8. Second down and 8, back at the 25, 24 and a half. Full house backfield. Here's going the bomb, and it's going to be nearly intercepted out there by number 42 for Mount Vernon. Back to covering defensively, Dave Thumb, but it's incomplete.
Pass intended for number 25, Tim Fleming.
And Bob Hogue is heading downstairs right now to check out the interview situation, possibly try to get one of these coaches, or perhaps both, to see their feelings about the game so far. There's Dave Thumb, number 42, covering defensively for Mount Vernon, as Taylor Hubbard went for the bomb that time, but it was overthrown, incomplete. 3rd down and 8. Out of the shotgun now, the sophomore quarterback standing back at his 12-yard line. Drops back again, trying to throw over the middle, and it's going to be intercepted by Troy Spencer at the 30, across the 30 to the 28-yard line. Troy Spencer, number 40, intercepts for Mount Vernon, and forced to make the tackle, Dave Fonnier, number 24, for Sibley. A big break here with 1:35 left to go in the first half. Sibley with the football, 1st down and 10 at the 29. That's the 3rd interception this afternoon. 2 by Mike Hufford, and that one by Troy Spencer. 1st and 10 at the 29-yard line. Dropping straight back to pass over the middle to Hufford, incomplete. Mike Hufford, number 88, the intended receiver that time. Good coverage out there by Sibley, number 11, Steve Bruder. It is 2nd down and 10, and Barthel, the quarterback for Mount Vernon this afternoon, 0 for 5 on the day so far. That is Mike Hufford, number 88, flat on his back right now at the 26.
Ball spotted for Sibley, 29-yard line.
Might have just had the wind knocked out of him there is Mike Hufford, number 88. Checking in for Sibley now, number 77, that is Dennis Stofferin. As you look at the trainers attending to Mike Hufford, shaken up a little bit on the previous play. 1:20 left to go, no score. This telecast is a presentation of the Blackhawk Broadcasting Company of Waterloo, which holds all television broadcast rights to the Iowa High School Athletic Association Football Championships. This is the AA title game, Mount Vernon's Mustangs against the Generals of Sibley High School. We have only 1:20 left to go as Mike Hufford gets up on his own power. That's a good deal, and Mike apparently will go out for a couple of plays and probably be back in a very short time. Just shaking up a little bit, had the wind knocked out of him on that pass attempt, which was incomplete. Mike Hufford, number 88, and he's all right. It's going to be 2nd down and 10 for Mount Vernon at the 29. Jim Barthel, the quarterback, checking in, is number 64 for Mount Vernon, and that is Mark Suchimel.
No gain on the play.
Now you're looking on the sideline, the Sibley coach Dan Melbrick talking it over here with his defensive captain, and that is number 11 for the Sibley Generals, and that's Steve Bruder. A senior, 5'10", 174 pounds. And here comes Mike Hufford back in the game for Mount Vernon. He gets a big hand. Shaken up just a couple of plays ago, but he's all right and back in the game. 3rd down and 10 for Mount Vernon. The Mustangs faced with a critical situation, as is the Sibley defense, trying to stop them here with 1:12 left to go in the first half. Still, remember, no score in this championship game of Class 2A. Some of the other class champions started in 1972 in AA. Sioux Center won the title, beating Iowa City Regina 21-6 that year. In 1973, Britt defeated Mount Vernon 34-13. In 74, Mount Vernon came back to win the title, beating Garner Hayfield 14-6. The Hudson Pirates had an undefeated season in 1975 under Coach Ed Nelson, beating Pekin Packwood to win the AA crown that year in 13-7 at Kinnick Stadium. And then back-to-back championships for Dick Knowles Ball Club at Rock Rapids Central Lyon. A tremendous performance a year ago, the past 2 years, by Rock Rapids as they won championships in 76 and 77. 3rd down and 10. Barthel dropping straight back to pass over the middle to Hufford. It's complete at the 11-yard line. Beautiful pass play from quarterback Jim Barthel to number 88 in Mike Hufford, who checked back into the game just a moment ago. 1 minute, 6 seconds left to go in the first half. It's going to be 1st and 10 for Mount Vernon at the Sibley 11-yard line. That is Jim Barthel's first completion of the afternoon, but it is indeed a big one. Down to the 11-yard line. But talking about Rock Rapids Central Lyon, they beat Sigourney 14-0 to win the title in 76, and then came back with another perfect season last year for Coach Dick Knoll, beating Pekin Packwood 34-8. And Rock Rapids winning back-to-back championships, the only team to do that in the playoff history so far in Iowa. It's going to be 1st down and 10 for Mount Vernon. Only 1 minute and 6 seconds here left to go in the first half. You know, as we pointed out, there were 434 schools playing football this year in Iowa. There were 20 perfect undefeated records, but only 6 teams did not have enough points to make it into the playoffs. And Osage in Class 3A, Southwind in Class 3A had an undefeated season. Columbus Junction, Pekin Packwood, Logan Magnolia in Class AA, and Clay Central in Class A all had perfect undefeated records, but not enough points to make the playoffs. Here's Barthel dropping back. He throws into the end zone. It's going to be incomplete. Kevin Havel, number 21, the intended receiver out there. It's going to be 2nd down and 10 at the 11 for Mount Vernon. Here's a score: Michigan 17, Purdue nothing at halftime. Notre Dame leading Georgia Tech 3-0 second quarter. The Wolverines playing at home before more than 100,000 fans at Ann Arbor, Michigan today, and they are looking tough, leading Purdue 17-0 at half. 1 minute left to go here in the first half. Mount Vernon, 2nd down and 10 at the 11-yard line. Here is Barthel dropping back. He's got a receiver open. It's complete and dropped at the 11-yard line. Incomplete. Troy Spencer, the intended receiver, but the official ruled it is incomplete. 3rd down and 10.
For number 40, Troy Spencer, it's broken up by number 44, Terry Pomeranke.
Here, watch it again. He's got good containment. He comes back to the weak side, and Troy Spencer, the intended receiver, had it momentarily, but the ball is jarred loose, but it's ruled an incomplete pass. Good defense out there by the Generals. It brings up 3rd down and 10, 56 seconds left to go in the first half. No score. 3rd down and 10, Mount Vernon at the 11. Here's Jim Barthel, number 10, the Mount Vernon quarterback. Dropping back again, rolls a little bit to his left side. Out there, Troy Spencer, the intended receiver, incomplete. Terry Pomeranke covering, number 44 for Sibley. And it's going to bring up a 4th down situation for Mount Vernon.
4th and 10 yards. Ball spotted at the Sibley 11-yard line.
If Mount Vernon goes for a field goal, I've been told this would be their first field goal try of the year. They haven't been stopped very many times, and this would be the first time. Mike Hufford will kick it. Number 42 will hold, and that is Dave Thumb. Let's see what happens. Center snap perfect. Ball is down. The kick is up, and it's going to be off to the net. No good. That was Mount Vernon's first field goal attempt of the season, and it is off to the left. A little bit wide, and Sibley, with a tremendous defensive effort here late in the first half, has stalled the Mount Vernon drive with only 50 seconds left to go in the first half. Still, no score. You see the scoreboard. Mount Vernon stalled, and they take over the Sibley Generals 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Here's a full house backfield now. Taylor Hubbard keeps it himself straight ahead across the 20 as they evidently are going to be content to run out the clock. It's going to be 2nd down and 8 at the 22. Clock is running.
3 yards on the play to bring up 2nd down and 7.
Mark Doden, number 20, checking into the Sibley lineup. Tim Fleming, number 25, comes to the sideline. Clock running with 20. Full house backfield again. Taylor Hubbard, the sophomore quarterback, in there for Sibley at the 22. Again, just content to let the clock run out. It's down to 5 seconds now. 3 seconds. The first half is going to come to an end. This AA championship game with the score. Mount Vernon nothing, Sibley nothing. We'll be back with more from the Unidome in just a moment. Bob, why don't you run over some of these statistics?
Kind of a sloppily played first half so far, Ron, although we haven't really seen a lot. 3 interceptions for Sibley. They've thrown 7 times. Taylor Hubbard kind of floating his passes out, and Mike Hubbard has intercepted the ball a couple of times. Troy Spencer's come away with another interception. Rushing yardage, Sibley has 59 yards rushing, 43 of that picked up by Terry Pomeranke, the so-called 5-star general. 38 yards for Mount Vernon on the ground, 18 yards for Mount Vernon passing. They only completed 1 of 9 pass attempts. They try to get the ball across to Mike Hufford, and they have not been too successful so far. The defense has won the battle so far in the game. No points on the scoreboard. Of course, somebody's got to score here, even if we have to go all night.
Back deep, it's going to be Mike Hufford and Dave Thumb to receive the kick for Mount Vernon. And Terry Pomeranke, number 44, the man who does just about everything for Sibley, will kick it off. You see it, the deep end back for Mount Vernon. 88 is Mike Hufford, and 42 is Dave Thumb.
Kicking off for Sibley, number 63, Joe Fox.
Here we go, the third quarter. It's a short kick at about the 22. Here comes Troy Spencer trying to get outside, and a great tackle in there by number 24, Dave Bonnier.
Did a really good job. So far, it's been the Orange Crush defense and the Mustang defense. We'll see if anything has happened, if the offensive coordinators have done any talking to their team so far. Jim Barthel will come out passing as he did in the first half. He threw the ball up in the air 9 times, but he only completed 1 of them.
1st and 10 for Mount Vernon. Power I formation here on 1st down to the 29. They give it off to Spencer across the 32 to about the 33. Troy Spencer tackled in there by number 11, Steve Bruder for Sibley.
Troy Spencer has really been the workhorse for the Mustangs. He's carried the ball 8 times in the football game. He only has 31 yards, so right now the rushing yardage for the Mustangs has not been particularly impressive.
2nd down and 6 at the 33. 11:15 left to go here early in the 3rd quarter. Power I again as the flags are dropped at the line of scrimmage. It's going to be encroachment against one of these two teams. Encroachment against Mount Vernon. That will send it back to the, well, let's see exactly where they spot it. If they move it back 5, it'll be back to about the 23, where it's going to be 2nd down and 11.
5-yard walk-off against Mount Vernon from side. That'll bring up 2nd down and 11. Ball spotted at their own 28-yard line.
Some of the scores we were giving you: Iowa State leading Colorado 20-10 in the 3rd quarter. Iowa on top of Wisconsin 10-0 in the first half. And Purdue shutting out, or excuse me, Michigan shutting out Purdue 17-0 at halftime. Troy Spencer trying to get outside, and he's going to be stacked up short of the 28-yard line.
Troy Spencer never able to get outside on the play, and give a lot of credit in there to Sibley's number 53, John Smith, defensive end. He forces that play to go to the outside. And all of a sudden, there's a lot of crushing orange shirts there.
3rd down and 12, Bob, here at the 27. And let's see what the young quarterback for Mount Vernon, only 5'8", 145 pounds. And he's going to have to do it all, Jim Barthel.
Definite passing down, and they've been trying to go to Mike Hufford when they have this kind of a situation. We'll see what happens.
Out of a wing tee this time. They give it off on a draw play to Giannini, and he's stacked up at the line of scrimmage. Mark Moody there, number 81, to help make the stop for Sibley. It's going to be 4th down for Mount Vernon. 4th and 12, back to the 27, so it's a punting situation here for the Mustangs. Here's Paul Hufford kicking it away from his own 17. He gets a boomer, high spiral. It sends Terry Pomeranke back to the 30. One missed tackle by Thumb. He gets it across the 35 to the 40 and up the sideline before he's finally knocked out of bounds by Giannini. Joe Giannini, number 32, made the stop.
Terry Pomeranke on a 44-yard punt will pick up this ball, and this is all Pomeranke on this situation. He has no blockers out in front of him. He has no wall to go to. This is all Pomeranke picking up about 15 yards on the punt return. An impressive display.
Now it's 1st down and 10 for Sibley at the 43-yard line. Up over the ball at center for the Sibley Generals is 53, John Smith. In a full house backfield this time. They give it straight ahead to the fullback. Just across the 45-yard line to the 46. Going to be 2nd down and 7 after the pickup of 3.
Both teams playing conservative football as they come out here in the beginning of the 2nd half. We didn't see much from the Mustangs. We'll see now if the Generals will open it up a little bit.
Taylor Hubbard at quarterback, only a sophomore. Here's the pitch outside to Steve Schwarzkopf. And a great defensive play out there by number 88, Mike Hubbard. Also there, number 53 for Mount Vernon defensively. And that is John Corcoran. Watch Schwarzkopf. And Giannini there to help trip him up on the initial stop. Number 32, and then Hufford finishes him off.
Giannini really shot the gap very well. Schwarzkopf never able to get outside. Of course, if he had got outside, Mike Hufford was there to stop him. So the Mustangs very impressive defensively here.
Clock is running, 8:20 left to go, 3rd quarter. Still no score. 3rd down and 8 at the 45. They drop out. Here's Taylor Hubbard in trouble, trying to pass over the middle, and it is complete across midfield at the 48-yard line. Complete to number 25 offensively for Sibley.
Watch this.
Tim
Rob
Fleming.
Niederhauser is going to blitz on this one. Pomeranke picks up the blitz and knocks him down. And Hubbard able to get away the pass, and it's completed for a short game. We have 4th down and about 1 yard to go.
Tim Fleming caught the football, but it's going to be short. And Sibley content to punt it away here. A little bit surprised about that. 4th down and 1 at the 48. And it's a pass from center is pretty good. They get a wobbly kick away. Hufford calls for a fair catch at the 16, fumbles the football, and who's going to get it? I believe Mount Vernon has recovered. Yes, they have. The Mustangs have recovered at the 16-yard line. Watch Hufford now signaling for a fair catch, Bob.
He just missed the football. It was a 36-yard punt, but Rob Niederhauser, number 61, will see the football on the ground. He gets on top of it first. It's a close battle in there, though. That's where you're just scrounging on the ground, and hopefully in the bottom of the pile, you've got the pigskin.
Rob Niederhauser made the recovery for Mount Vernon out of the power I. Here's the pitch outside, getting up to about the 16, 17-yard line. Kevin Havel, number 21, carried it.
Number 21, Kevin Havel, ready to ball for Mount Vernon.
Very impressed with this Sibley defense. All 4 of the backs that run the football for Mount Vernon have impressive yardage statistics where they gain about 4, 5, 6 yards a crack. So far in this game, though, you got guys like Joe Giannini that's only carried the ball 7 times for 18 yards. That's only a little over 2 yards a crack. And Troy Spencer himself has only carried the ball for 3.5 yards a crack.
2nd down and 8. They give it off to the fullback inside. Troy Spencer trying to get outside, breaks one tackle, gets up across the 21 before he is stacked up in there by the Sibley defense, headed by Joe Poss, number 63, and Steve Schwarzkopf, number 21.
That's impressive because the orange shirts were swarming out on that one. And Poss and Schwarzkopf made a tackle after it appeared that Spencer was going to have a few yards out there.
6:20 left to go here in the 3rd quarter. No score. They send David Thumb now split to the right side in a deuce backfield behind Jim Barthel, the quarterback. Straight ahead, across almost to the 30, just across the 30-yard line. Joe Giannini, number 32, carried it.
An interesting thing unfolding here in the 2nd half. Both coaches electing to be very, very conservative on 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6 situations. They're going to the run instead of to the pass. They just don't have any trust in their passing attacks so far in the 2nd half. Of course, it was a disastrous 1st half in that statistical area.
Now it brings up 4th down and 2. Hufford kicks it away. It's going to be a short kick this time, bounding at about midfield. Takes a Mount Vernon bounce down to about the 44, where it's downed in there by number 64, Mark Schukenel.
31-yard punt by Hufford.
It'll be 1st and 10 for Sibley.
And you get the impression right now that no one's fired up, Ron. The fans aren't fired up. Neither of the teams are. They got to get out there and do a little bit of hitting.
1st and 10, Sibley at the 44. 5:21 left to go here in the 3rd quarter. The pitch outside. They're trying to get it to Steve Schwarzkopf. He's stacked up in there by number 21, Kevin Havel, for Mount Vernon.
Schwarzkopf trying to go for a little extra yardage. Kevin Havel took a hold of him and said, "No way am I going to let you go, buddy." The meeting of the number 21s. Schwarzkopf goes back to the huddle. You'll see it on this play. A good defensive play. Hufford forces the play to the outside, and in comes Havel. No way he's getting away.
2nd down and 8 at the 46. Clock is running here in the 3rd quarter. Here's an I formation for the first time now for Sibley. Here's a counter. They pitch it offside to reverse on the inside to Harms across the 15. Steve Harms carried the football that time. The young sophomore, 5'8", 150-pounder. Pretty good execution that time.
Very good execution, but however, defensively, the impressive thing that came up as we show you some scores there is the way that Mike Hufford stayed at home on the left side. He could have been fooled by that play. Instead, you'll watch him as they come up. And Steve Harms will get the football, but watch Hufford stay at home. He'll make the initial contact, and then number 42, Dave Thumb, finishes him off.
It's going to be short of a first down. It looks like they're bringing in the chains. It's going to be very close, within inches. There you see it. It's about a foot. Short by about 1 foot. Now, I believe Sibley won't even think about it this time. I think they're going to go on 4th down. No score here in the 3rd quarter. 4 minutes, 31 seconds left to go.
I think it's 3rd down.
It is 3rd down. You're right.
Only 3rd down.
Only 3rd down. 3rd down in less than a yard. 3rd down and actually about a foot.
Come on, let's go!
Now they're back to their power set. Split T backfield. Counter inside. Picks up the first down for Sibley. Terry Pomeranke, number 44, gets good blocking up front from John Smith, Tom Helliger, Joe Poss, Dave Munier, Marty Johnson, Dennis Stofferin, and Mark Moody, the offensive line up there for Sibley.
For the first time in the ball game, a team looks like they're fired up out there, and the offensive line really fired out and attacked the Mustangs. And that's where you're going to get the yardage. You've got to get down there and got to get the adrenaline flowing a little bit.
Counter again, Pomeranke, tremendous defensive play that time by number 61, Rob Niederhauser from Mount Vernon. He fought off his block and made a beautiful defensive play, Bob.
Niederhauser does a really good job coming across from the nose guard position to make that tackle. You see him, watch him get through the line. Nobody touches him, and Pomeranke goes down. It'll be 2nd down and 10. We should mention on that first down, it took over 10 minutes here in the 3rd quarter for that first down to happen.
Full house tee again. They pitch it out. They're going to pick the halfback pass. They're going long this time. He's wide open down there. It is going to be completed at the 9-yard line. Beautifully executed pass play to number 21, and that is Steve Schwarzkopf. Watch it again. They pitch it out. Here's number 11, Steve Bruder, into pass. He's the backup quarterback. And it's a beautiful pass play down to the 10-yard line.
Steve Bruder showing you that he's got some kind of an arm out there, a 32-yard pass play, and the Sibley Generals have the ball down to the 10-yard line. Finally, we see a little bit of imagination on offense.
It's 1st and goal at the 10. Here's the now formation with a wing set here, and they give it off on the straight ahead to reverse to number 15, Steve Harms. He came across from the wingback position that time, and it's defensed well for a loss of a yard by Mount Vernon. Watch it here.
They'll fake it to the inside, then Harms comes to the outside. Really good tackle in there by Dave Thumb.
Now
he really
it's
gets his
2nd down
arms
and goal.
and wraps it around it, Ron. I'm really impressed with the way that young man tackles.
Back at the 11, 2nd down, goal to go at the 11-yard line for Sibley. Deuce backfield, wing on the right side. Here is the young sophomore quarterback in there, Taylor Hubbard. Gives it off out to the 4-yard line. Steve Schwarzkopf, number 21 that time.
And we have a flag down on the right at the end of the carry. Schwarzkopf will take the ball. He'll cut back inside. He's forced inside by number 21, Kevin Havel. And we have a big penalty marker down on the field, Ryan.
I think it's going to be a clip. I believe it's going to be clipping against Sibley. Now watch it here. See if we can pick it up on the replay. A little tough to see. I can't tell
it looks like they're calling a clip on number 63, Joe Poss, but I really feel they missed it on that one. It looked like Poss had his head in front of the play, and that the back that he allegedly clipped turned on him just a little bit.
Well, it goes back to the 19-yard line, where it's going to be 2nd and goal at the 19. So a costly penalty for the Generals of Sibley. Wing on the right side this time. They send out Doug Phillip. They want to pass. They're going long. He's wide open. It's going to be incomplete, and a beautiful defensive play out there.
Troy Spencer did a super job. Absolutely a phenomenal job, because number 25, Tim Fleming, was absolutely wide open. Taylor Hubbard's pass was right there, and at the last possible moment, as you see Taylor Hubbard go back to pass, he's looking deep to Fleming. Number 40, Troy Spencer, tips it away at the last possible moment, and 6 points just evaporate.
Now it's 3rd down and goal, back at the 19. Now they send a slot on the right side and a split end out there as well. They're trying to pass, tremendous defense by Mount Vernon. They hurry the pass, they get down to about the 10-yard line. Tim Fleming, number 25, again got down to the 10, but it's going to be a 4th down situation for Sibley.
This is where I think you're going to have to bring your field goal kicking team
so
on.
too, the way
I think that's exactly what I can't believe that Hubbard got rid of this football. Look at the pursuit there by Rob Niederhauser, but Hubbard gets it away just as he's getting racked up.
Great job of delivering that pass by that sophomore quarterback, Taylor Hubbard.
He's really showing me a lot of poise, even though he has 3 interceptions in there. He's not afraid to throw the football. Tim Fleming making the reception. There's a timeout on the field. The Generals want to talk it over just a little bit. They're confused out there. We have 1:36 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Still no score.
Still no score here. 4th down and goal to go. The ball at the 10-yard line, and I think Joe Poss, number 63, is going to kick a field goal, or attempt a field goal, I should say. He has set his kicking tee at the 18-yard line, so it's going to be a 28-yard attempt. Adding the 10 yards of the end zone. The ball will be spotted for the kick at the 18, or the 17, let's make it. With 1:36 left to go. Still no score in this football game between Sibley and Mount Vernon as they go for the 2A state championship. Steve Harms will hold it. Sibley will attempt a 27-yard field goal. The ball is at the 10-yard line. It will be spotted back at the 17. So it's going to be a 27-yard field goal attempt. Steve Harms, I believe number 15, will hold it for Joe Poss.
And here's where you got 3 people very important. Owen Orthman will be the center. He'll snap the football to Steve Harms. And number 63, Joe Poss. So 3 men have to do a super job.
All right, there's the center snap. It's perfect. It's blocked. Beautiful defensive play in there by Mount Vernon. Harms picks it up back at the 30, but he's going to be sacked, and Mount Vernon will take over 1st and 10.
And it just took just a little bit too much time to set up. We mentioned the 3 players have to do their job, but of course the other 8 guys have to do some good blocking in there, and they just weren't able to contain their men. The Mustang defense breaking through and blocking that field goal attempt. We still have no score, and the Mustangs will take over the ball at the 30-yard line.
Oh, you have to give the credit of Mount Vernon, the defense, a lot of credit, because they rose to the occasion. They had the ball 1st and goal at the 10 and stopped him. Now it's up to Sibley to go on defense with that 4-4 again. 1st and 10 for Mount Vernon, and the Generals come right back and stop it for a 1-yard gain, maybe 2.
He's stopped by number 11, Steve.
John Giannini carried it.
The Mustangs are just going to have to do something just a little bit different out there, Ron. They just keep coming at it, and now here's another situation. They get a holding penalty. They just can't get their offense generated. And we talked before about Sibley does something on their defense, a little bit of stunning, a little bit of shifting around with that 4-4, and it confuses the offense. And the Mustangs are playing confused offensive football out there, and they got to break it open. They got to make it a little bit more wide open right now.
Now we saw a costly penalty go against Sibley. Now a costly penalty against Mount Vernon. Back to the 16-yard line. It's going to be 1st down and 24 yards to go.
That's an interesting statistic there on the penalties, Ron. Last night we hardly had any penalties in either the 1A or the 4A game. There were 6 penalties in the 1st half, a couple of big ones here and costly ones here in the 2nd half.
Jim Barthel at quarterback. He drops back, rolls slightly to his right side, sets up and throws long, and it's going to be complete at the 36-yard line. Dave Thumb, number 42, made the reception at the 36. 1st down for Mount Vernon.
Barthel goes back to pass, and I thought he was going to be looking for Mike Hufford, but he doesn't look at him at all. Goes to Dave Thumb. Watch this catch as Dave Thumb goes way up in the air. Boy, a basketball coach would definitely like to have him on the rebound.
It's going to be just short of a 1st down, but it's going to be 2nd down. Instead of about 24 yards to go, it's going to be 2nd down and 4. And Thumb is also an excellent sprinter. Runs the quarter in less than He runs about 48.6 in the quarter, so he's got a good speed.
They're working on one of the generals down there, one of the generals who was in the defensive secondary. I'm not able to pick up the number, Ron.
Let's see if we can find out who it is. The Sibley player injured.
Iowa 17.
Iowa now leading Wisconsin 17-0 at Kinnick Stadium this afternoon. Watch the pass play again. We'll see if we can pick up the injury.
Colorado 10, Iowa State 20.
Iowa State still leading Colorado in the fourth quarter now by a score of 20-10. Number 20 is the injured Sibley player. That's Mark Doden, defensive secondary.
And that would be a costly injury. Mark Doden has 7 interceptions on the year. Did a superb job against Greenfield last week when the Sibley Generals came away with 8 interceptions to win that football game by a score of 27-7.
Looks like a left ankle or something on that area. Mark Doden, number 20. We hope he's not through for the afternoon, but he certainly not putting any pressure on that leg, and he may be all over his high school career. He's a senior for Sibley. Second down and 4 at the 36. Clock is running now with only 35 seconds left to go here in the third quarter, and boy, stacked up in there by number 53 for Sibley. That is John Smith, the nose guard. John Smith, number 53, put a stop on Troy Spencer.
John Smith is a senior, 5'10", 160 pounds. Not a big guy for a defensive end, but he certainly made a good play there.
Now it's third down and 5. Power I formation for Mount Vernon. They pitch it outside to Spencer, across the 35 to the 40, and he stopped at the 40-yard line as the third quarter comes to an end. No score here from the Unidome, and we'll be back in just a moment.
He stopped on the play by number 40, Doug Phillips.
One first down the whole second half, and they're going to go for it in their own territory.
Straight ahead, they give it off inside to Spencer. It's going to be short of a first down, I believe. Tremendous defense up front by Sibley.
What a super job by the Sibley Generals as they come crushing through. This is going to be short. They needed to cross that 40-yard line, and they're not able to do it. Spencer comes through, and there's about 3 or 4 guys, led by number 40, Doug Phillip, comes in and makes the initial contact, and Sibley has the ball in impressive field position, about the 39.5-yard line. But they have to move the football, too. They only had 2 first downs in that third quarter.
Big play, first and 10 at the 40 now for Sibley. Full house, split team backfield. They give it off on a counter inside to Pomeranke, and he carries it across the 30 down to about the 25. Look at the second effort by Terry Pomeranke.
And we've got a fired-up Sibley General team. That was a costly play there because now the offense is fired up. Pomeranke is really moving in this one. He goes through 3 or 4 guys before he's finally brought down. The Generals have the football down at the 27-yard line. It's a case once again where the defense fires up the offense.
Dave Thumb finally made the stop for Mount Vernon, but it's first and 10 at the 27. Sibley, deuce backfield now with a wing on the left side. Here's the young sophomore quarterback in the pitch out to Terry Pomeranke. Pomeranke fights his way across the 20 to the 19, where he's finally stacked up in there by the Mount Vernon secondary, number 21, Kevin Havel.
Pomeranke taking the ball, ducks just inside. Havel making the tackle, but not before the Generals get the football down
there along the
inside
sideline.
the 20-yard line.
Number 20, Mark Doden. He can still get a smile, even though, look at that ice pack on his leg, boy. He is evidently done for the afternoon. Second down and 3 at the 20. Split D backfield again. They give it off inside to number 21, and that's Steve Schwarzkopf. Schwarzkopf with a great second effort bomb down to the 15.
Boy, you can tell all the Orange Crush fans, the Sibley General fans are up here. Schwarzkopf giving a good second and third effort. The initial contact is made. Those legs are just driving. He gets the football down to the 15-yard line. Schwarzkopf moving the football real well, and the Generals are just really inspired.
It's going to be a first down First down and 10 at the 15-yard line for Sibley. Taylor Hubbard at quarterback, only a sophomore. On a split tee, gives it off inside to Pomeranke. Pomeranke breaks it outside. He's going to be fouled. Touchdown!
Terry Pomeranke, the five-star general, shows you why on this play. Doing a super job. Gets through there's a big hole. A couple of guys trying to make the tackle in there. Joe Giannini misses him. Mike Hubbard misses him. Kevin Havel misses him. And it's 6 points. We finally got a score in this ball game. And the Sibley Generals using something because their defense inspired them coming up on a tough fourth down play. And we've got a ball game.
They're going to go for the one-point conversion. Conversion attempt coming. It's going to be kicked by Joe Poss. Flag down at the line of scrimmage. Official timeout for a moment. 10 minutes, 28 seconds left to go in the football game, and Sibley is finally on the scoreboard for the only score of the game so far. Encroachment coming up against Sibley. It's going to move it back to about the 8.
Report to the business office in the East Conference.
And Terry Pomeranke now having some impressive statistics. 15 rushes for 82 yards in the ball game, and he's got that touchdown on a good second and third effort.
All right, conversion attempt coming. Joe Poss will kick it. Steve Harms will do the holding. Spot is down. The kick is up, and it is good. 10 minutes, 28 seconds left to go in the third quarter. It's Sibley 7, Mount Vernon nothing.
Excited about your birthday?
Yeah, I like birthday.
All right, Joe Poss will kick it off now for Sibley. Kicks it high end over end and deep. Here they give it the reverse to Mike Hubbard up to the 20, 25, and finally stacked up, and there's a flag down at about the 33-yard line. Check out the penalty. Mike Hubbard, number 88, brought it back.
Unusual spot for a flag, but it probably usually in this situation it comes as a clip. And that's exactly what they're going to be calling. And the Mustangs find themselves in an unusual situation. They've only found themselves in this situation once before the entire year. They've only been behind in a game one time the entire year. And here it happens to them again in the championship game. The Mustangs, of course, coming in here undefeated.
Mount Vernon winning every game this year. In fact, they shut out 7 of their opponents and did not allow a touchdown, did not allow a point, I should say, in the first 6 games. They shut out their first 6 opponents. The ball going all the way back to the 13-yard line, where it's going to be first down and 10 for Mount Vernon. So they're going to have to drive it now 87 yards to get on the scoreboard with only 10:21 left to play. Still a lot of time, but we're in the fourth quarter.
They got to show a little bit more creativity on their offense if they're going to drive that football. Very conservative football play so far in the second half from Mount Vernon.
And off inside, Joe Giannini across the 15 to about the 16, 17-yard line. Joe Poss, number 63, helps make the stop along with John Smith.
Of course, one other item, being back that far in your territory, you don't have, it's not 4-down territory. You can't just go 3 yards at a crack, because then you come up with 4th down and 1 situation.
Coach Dan Melbrick of Sibley, his team playing mostly a tough schedule of 3A teams all year. They did suffer 2 losses, but with the point system playing those bigger schools, it adds up, and they made the playoffs again. Here's power I, pitch out outside. The 15, across the 15. Troy Spencer to the 25 before he's knocked out of bounds.
Spencer doing a really good job. He got a really good block in there from David Thumb as they cracked down on the defensive end, allowed Spencer to get outside. I don't think you can see the block, but Troy Spencer does get outside very well, and they're out of danger. Mount Vernon's got the football now at their 25-yard line.
That's a first down. It's 1st and 10 at the 25. Clock is stopped with 9 minutes and 27 seconds left to go. Here's a deuce backfield now behind Jim Barthel. Barthel gives it straight ahead to his fullback, Giannini. Stopped at the line of scrimmage for no gain, right at the 25.
Those straight ahead plays are just not picking up the yardage. Giannini getting the ball inside quite a bit. Usually only about 1-2 yards.
It's going to be 2nd down and 10 at the 25. Clock is running. Less than 9 minutes to play now. Here's Mount Vernon back to a power I setup on 2nd down and 10. They pitch it outside to Spencer. He tries to get a block. Can find nowhere. Gets up to the 26 before he's knocked out of bounds. Troy Spencer knocked out of bounds at about the 26. It's going to be 3rd down for the Mustangs.
Good pursuit in there by Joe Poss, number 63, and number 40, Doug Phillip. Spencer unable to get outside, but it was the pursuit that did it. And Mount Vernon's going to have to try something a little bit different. I'd like to see him go to a screen play or something like that, Ron, just to open it up just a little bit.
What is Barthel passing today so far? He was 1 for 9 in the first half. What about in the second half? 2 out of 10 overall, so he's hit on his only pass here this afternoon in the second half after going 1 for 9, and his big completion near the end of the first half took Mount Vernon down to the 11-yard line, but they were stalled. The field goal was wide to the left and no score at halftime, and then after the great run inside from Terry Pomerant, they have gone ahead by a score of 7-0. 8:45 left to play. Sibley leading by the touchdown and the point after. Michigan routing Purdue at Ann Arbor, 24-0 now in the 4th period. I think the party's over for the Boilermakers.
I think so too. They just
Indiana, look at that score, leading Ohio State 10-7.
There, so Michigan might have that trip back to the Rose Bowl, trying to make up for that defeat last year, rather a humiliating one for the Big Ten when they lost to Washington, the score 27-20.
Nebraska having some problems with the Missouri Tigers, 14-7.
Of course, that's an important one for Nebraska. If they only win that game by a touchdown or less, they may lose that number 2 ranking. Alabama was just barely behind them in number 3 spot. And the Sibley General, boy, he'd like to get in there and do a job.
Here comes Mount Vernon on 3rd down and 9 at the 26. Here's a deuce backfield with a double wing. Dropping straight back is Barthel in pressure situation, gets out of there, and he's tripped up at the 23 by Joe Poss, number 63.
Joe Poss and Marty Johnson doing all the pursuit in there. As Jim Barthel goes back to pass, he's trying to find Mike Hufford over the middle. He just cannot find him. You'll see a couple of big guys, Marty Johnson and Joe Poss. Marty Johnson, 5'10", 220-pound senior, and Joe Poss, 6'1", 180-pound senior. And back to punt is Paul Hufford.
Terry Pomeranke back at midfield. Paul Hufford will punt it away from his own 13-yard line. Gets a high spiral now at midfield. This is Pomeranke at the 47. Up to the midfield trying to get outside, and a beautiful open field tackle there by Mike Hufford, number 88. The stopping 31-yard punt that time by Paul Hufford, and the tackle made by his brother Mike.
What a duo out there. What an outstanding football family, Ron. Wow, there's something else.
Absolutely, and as we mentioned earlier, brother Joe playing for the Hawkeyes this afternoon, leading Wisconsin at last report 17-7 at Kinnick Stadium. 7:56 as the clock runs here in the 4th quarter. Sibley 7, Mount Vernon nothing. 1st and 10 Sibley at the 48-yard line. Split T backfield. The young sophomore quarterback gives it inside to his fullback, number 11, Steve Bruder. Bruder spins his way across midfield to about the 47-yard line of Mount Vernon.
Sibley playing inspired offense out there. They're getting some big gains from all of their backs. Bruder and Schwarzkopf. Fleming coming off the field right now as the Generals run in another play. Of course, Pomeranke.
Iowa now leading Wisconsin at halftime, 17-14 as you saw. Full house again this time. They give it off to the fullback again, straight ahead to the 44.
The 44, Pomeranke will be tackled by number 71, Paul Hufford.
Of course, this has been the way that Sibley has done it in both of their playoff games. They don't score much early in the ball game, but then they really turn it on in the second half. They did that against Belmont about a week and a half ago, scoring 27 points in that second half. Here they have control of the football game.
3rd down and 3 at the 45 for Sibley. Straight ahead, Pomeranke. It's going to be very close to a 1st down, and I believe he may have gotten it.
I do believe Terry Pomeranke's got it. Not only does he run well on the ground, but he runs well above the ground as he hurdles that line to pick up the yardage. Watch him go up into the air.
There it is, 1st and 10 Sibley. The ball now just short of the 40-yard line. Kansas State again looking impressive, leading Kansas 10-0.
Mr. Dickey doing a good job down there.
There it is, straight T backfield again in the full house. Straight ahead to the fullback, Steve Bruder again, number 11.
Let's give credit to the offensive line in there, Sibley. Number 60, Tom Heiliger, doing a good job. Marty Johnson, Joe Poss really firing it out. They're getting a lot of inside yardage. Schwarzkopf, Pomeranke, Bruder doing a good job. Pomeranke in the ballgame, 16 carries for 87 yards. Steve Bruder gets a good hand as he comes off the field. Second
Bruder
down, a
checks
little
out.
over 6.
Steve Harms back in now, Bob, for Sibley. And they go to a wing with a split backfield this time to number 21, and that is Steve Schwarzkopf. Hufford knocks him back across the 25, but they'll spot it at about the 27, I believe.
Schwarzkopf is getting the football a lot. He's carried the ball 9 times in the football game. Got some good yardage there on that touchdown drive where you got to see a little bit of the 2nd and 3rd and 4th effort.
It's going to be 3rd down and about 3 again at the 33. The clock is running with just over 5 minutes left to play in this game. Here's a counter inside to the fullback. Pomeranke, 44, trying to fight his way up to the 1st down yardage, but he's going to be short, and it's going to be 4th down.
The thing that impresses me about Pomeranke is he never gives up. Even when the whistle stops blowing, he was still grinding away and trying to get over the top of that stack and get close to the 1st down. The Sibley General fans want their teammates to go for it. Watch Pomeranke give the effort. Even after the whistle is blown, he's still rolling and rolling and rolling. Gives that little extra added push, but the official says, nope, the play had stopped.
4th down and 1, and Sibley is going for it in Mount Vernon territory at the 31. They give it inside. 1st down, Sibley, as Pomeranke carries it across to the 28.
And with each carry, Terry Pomeranke gets closer to that 100-yard mark. Good hole in there, but Pomeranke just using his power. It's going to make somebody a good running back next year when he decides what college he wants to go to.
Now it's 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line for Sibley. Working out of that split deep backfield again. Paul Hufford makes the stop as they give it straight ahead to about the 25. Steve Bruder again carried the football, number 11. He and Steve Harms are rotating from that fullback position out of that full house backfield the past several series.
And that clock becomes a factor now as we move inside 4 minutes. And the most important thing that the Sibley Generals are doing right now is they are keeping a hold of the football, grinding down that clock. Mount Vernon can't score if they don't have the pigskin.
2nd down and 7 at the 25. Oh, here's Schwarzkopf stacked up in there by number 63. Inside for Mount Vernon on defense, and that is Steve Ilovitz.
Love that name, Steve Ilovitz. That's spelled J-I-L-O-V-E-C. How they ever got Ilovitz out of that, I don't know.
Well, our thanks to Tim Johnson for giving us that pronunciation, too. He's the wrestling coach there.
We would have butchered that all day long, I think. I understand there's a lot of Ilovitzes living out there the Mount Vernon way.
3 minutes now. Mount Vernon will have to dig in. 3rd down and 4. Here's a pitch outside to Pomeranke. Pomeranke is going to be into 1st down. He's going to be stopped at the 15. I believe it's going to be a Sibley 1st down.
And we're getting inside 3 minutes. Taylor Hubbard just does a super job on this play. As it comes up on the replay, he'll fake inside to Schwarzkopf and take the ball, go outside to Pomeranke. Pomeranke finds a little bit of running room, does a job himself, gets the football down to the 15-yard line. Sibley could get another touchdown on the board. Pomeranke now has 100 yards in this football game.
1st and 10, Sibley at the 15. 2 minutes and 45 seconds as the clock runs here in the 4th quarter. Sibley driving the football with the lead. 7-0. Full house split T backfield. Here's a counter inside to Pomeranke. Pomeranke to the 5, and it's going to be a Sibley touchdown.
Almost the identical play that he scored the touchdown on earlier in the 4th quarter. He moves inside, and then he'll cut back to the right. Watch Terry Pomeranke get the ball and go over to the left side, cut back against the grain, almost untouched into the end zone. Sibley on top, 13-0. This ball game is just about history.
2 minutes and 37 seconds left to play. Conversion attempt coming. Joe Koss will kick it. And Sibley now moves ahead, 13-0. Steve Harms will hold. Center snap will come from John Smith up front. Center snap perfect, ball is down, kick is up, and it is good. 2:31 left to go in the fourth quarter, and it's Sibley 14 and Mount Vernon nothing.
The entire complexion of this football game turned early in the fourth quarter when Mount Vernon decided that they were going to go for it. Fourth down and about a foot to go on their own 39-yard line, and they were stacked up. Give credit to Doug Phillip for making the tackle on that play. And the whole complexion of this ball game changed after that. Sibley came back and scored 2 touchdowns. Terry Pomeranke doing a job. Right now he has 115 yards on 20 carries. What an impressive day for this 5-star general.
Sibley leading now 14-0. Mount Vernon will have to score and score quickly to have any chance at all. There's still a little bit of time left, but not much. 2 minutes and 37 seconds. After what happened last night, anything can happen with the great games that we had in Class A. 21-20, Eastwood beating West Central. Sibley 14, Mount Vernon nothing. Here's the kickoff by Poss. Now it hits the ground at about the 25. It's picked up in there by Spencer. Spencer trying to get outside, and he's stacked up in his tracks there by number 24. Dave Monyer making the stop for the Sibley Generals.
Dave Monyer's been a man that's been in a lot of those kickoffs. Seems like he's made the tackle on just about every single one. Good aggressive football player.
First down and 10 at the 35. Colorado has edged now within 4 points of Iowa State with only a minute and 20 seconds left to go. 20-16. Cyclones still leading it. Here's power I for Mount Vernon. Barthel dropping straight back, wants to throw long. He's got a man open out there. Incomplete about the 35. Pass interference, I believe, coming up. And it may go against Sibley.
Terry Pomeranke, the defender on that play, he was down there with number 40, Doug Phillip. Phillip, the big man who has 8 pass interceptions on the day. And Pomeranke stepped in front of the intended receiver, and they're going to call pass interference on him.
8 pass interceptions on the day.
I think that was on the year.
On the year. Okay. 2 minutes and 12 seconds left to play here. See where they make the spot. It's going to be a Mount Vernon first down.
That'd be a heck of a day, wouldn't it? 8 interceptions, 1 football day.
See what Coach Jim Bellamy wants to do with his Mount Vernon offense now. He has to score and in a hurry to even have a chance to get back into this game with only 2 minutes and 12 seconds left to go. Mount Vernon trailing. Sibley 14, Mount Vernon nothing. They spot it at the 49.5. In motion now is Spencer. Here comes Barthel dropping back again. Over the middle, he's out complete to the fumble the football at the 40. Number 21, Kevin Havel had the ball, but then fumbled, and Sibley recovers it.
Well, as they say, the party's over. Watch number 53 in there. John Smith will strip the ball away. And it'll just fall harmlessly to the ground. And Sibley has iced this football game.
And guess who got it? Doug Phillip, the man we were talking about, number 40 for Sibley. 2 minutes left to go, clock running, fourth quarter. Sibley leading 14-0. Sibley is within a minute 55 now of winning the Class AA state championship for the first time. Clock is running still, minute 40. They just give it ahead to about the 44. Minute 37 as they call timeout.
22nd down and 10 for the Mustangs. The ball spotted. Sibley, ball spotted at their own 44-yard line.
line, especially center John Smith and guard Marty Johnson and Tom Helliger. So with a minute and 37 seconds left. So waiting for Iowa State to see whether or not they'll be in a postseason bowl as they were last year. As early as just a couple of days ago, there were still at least 5 bowls still interested in Iowa State, including the Fiesta, Liberty, Sun, and other like the new Holiday Bowl in San Diego, and of course the Hall of Fame Bowl, which was inaugurated last year. So it's now a wait-and-see situation for Coach Earl Bruce and the Cyclones, having completed an 8-3 season, and now just waiting to see if they can get another postseason invitation. 57 seconds now left to go here. 4th down and 13 at the 41 for Sibley, so they'll have to punt it away. And Mount Vernon will get the football one more time, trailing 14-0. Along the sideline, Coach Dan Melbrick for the Sibley, the Generals. The Sibley Generals, 14-0 lead with less than a minute to play. Back deep now, it's going to be Mount Vernon standing at about the 30-yard line. Mike Hufford is number 88. He's being joined back there by number 12, or excuse me, number 42, and that's Dave Thumb. The ball goes out of bounds. They did not want to take a chance on a return. And Mount Vernon will take over at about the 47-yard line. That was a 12-yard punt. Not sure if it just went off his foot or if they wanted to kick it out of bounds to prevent any kind of a long punt return for a touchdown. Now Mount Vernon takes over. 1st and 10 at the 47. Slot on the right side now as Barthel drops back, runs out of the pocket. He's going to be sacked up in there short of the 50-yard line by Joe Poss, number 63. A sensational game today by Joe Poss. 41 seconds left to go now. Barthel goes to the sideline. Now that, I believe, was Mount Vernon's final timeout. They evidently had 1 left to go. Number 11 out there for Sibley, the defensive captain, talking with Coach Dan Melbrick, is Steve Bruder. And on the far side, Mount Vernon head coach Jim Bellamy and his young quarterback Jim Barthel. Barthel, a senior, 5'10", 145-pounder, trying to get something on the scoreboard here with less than a minute to go. And the Mustangs trailing Sibley 14-0. Iowa State has defeated Colorado 20-16, as we said earlier. Iowa had been leading Wisconsin in the 3rd quarter 17-14. Northern Iowa plays later tonight at Akron as the UNI Panthers close out the season in Ohio. Now it's 2nd down and 10 for Mount Vernon. Up over the ball at center, John Bellamy, the coach's son, at center, number 52. Here's Barthel dropping back, rolls a little bit to his right, throws it out there. It's incomplete. Troy Spencer, the intended receiver. Mount Vernon did not play with its leading rusher, Rick Osborne. He has a broken arm, and he was not able to play in this championship game. Rick Osborne, the leading rusher for Mount Vernon this year with more than 600 yards. Clock is stopped with 37 seconds left to play now. 3rd down and 10 at the 47. Here's Barthel getting great pressure from Poss. Has to run out of the pocket across the 45 to the 50. Now they have to get out of bounds. And a beautiful bit of open field tackling there by number 60, Tom Helliger, for the Sibley Generals. Now the clock is running. Mount Vernon out of timeouts. 20 seconds. 4th down and about 9. 15 seconds now. No more timeouts for Mount Vernon. Sibley leading here 14-0. 9 seconds away from a championship. Here's Barthel trying to pass over the middle. It's incomplete with 5 seconds left to go. Incompleted pass stops the clock with only 5 seconds left.
No one is allowed on the plain surface of the dome except for players and officials. Immediately following the game, we will have the award ceremony for first and second place of Class 2A. Once again, no one is allowed on the plain surface of the dome.
The ball at the 47-yard line. Some of the Sibley crowd here, the Orange Crush, all fired up now. They're 5 seconds away from winning the state championship in Class AA.
We would like to ask the cooperation of the Emmitsburg and
Sibley takes over now on downs after the 4th down failure by Mount Vernon. Here's the final play of the game. They just take the football. It's getting outside after the fumble. Flag is dropped now at the 45. Time runs out, but there is a flag down. Sibley has won the championship by a score of 14-0. There is a flag down at the field, but it's going to be declined, and Sibley has wrapped up the 1978 State High School Football Championship in Class 2A. The final score, Sibley 14 and Mount Vernon nothing. We'll be back with more here. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment.
Home Federal Savings and Loan in Sibley salutes the Generals and their coaches on an outstanding football season and wish each and every one of its players the best of luck in today's game. The staff at Home Federal Savings and Loan in Sibley is rooting for the Generals all the way. Home Federal Savings and Loan also reminds you that they'd like to talk with you when it comes to making decisions on loans or investment matters. Home Federal Savings and Loan in Sibley wants to get acquainted with you and help you in any way they can.
This Christmas, special